why on earth, and you still got intel buddies, why on earth would anyone be directing jokes? I can't believe he's making these calls on his own. Is this just the military deep industrial complex saying, let's try to go to war before you get out so we can make a bunch of money? Because why in the hell would you be doing this with like 50 some days to go?
Yeah, honestly, this is just unprecedented. I mean, this is more than just trying to keep the gravy train going of some military contracts and procurement program. I mean, this is high stakes. Actually, this is literally the highest stakes. This is
Yeah.
moving, or at least talking about moving nuclear weapons into Ukraine on Russia's border. I mean, what happened last week with the long-range missiles being shot into Russia, the U.S. long-range missiles, that was bad enough. But now they're making things worse. So all I can say is that this is completely unprecedented. This is exactly what the Democrats accused President Trump of doing, that President Trump would somehow start World War III or do something unprecedented and provocative. But here we are in a lame duck session. We've got less than 60 days, and you've got the Biden administration, whoever's in charge, we're not allowed to know that,
Right.
talking about, potentially putting nuclear weapons on Russia's border that could provoke World War III. This is incredibly reckless.
Didn't we sign stuff? Didn't NATO, didn't the UN, didn't America promise the USSR when it just disbanded and became Russia ages ago? And then again in 2014 when we installed Zelensky, didn't we promise them that we weren't going to have nukes on their border?
We did. We promised that we weren't going to move NATO any further to the east, and we continued to do that. And so, right now, unfortunately, in one breath, we will say that Putin is just this unhinged madman, and then we will continue to escalate, basically saying that we are relying on the madman not to escalate this any further. I mean, it just none of this makes any sense unless you are attempting to put Trump into a position where we are in a war when he comes into office that he cannot walk back. And really, if you look at all the data that's out there right now that we have access to, that is the only reasonable conclusion that you can come to. The Biden administration or whoever's in charge and NATO are trying to put Trump into World War III in a way that he can't back off initially, in a way that he can't bring both sides to the negotiating table and bring about a peace agreement. I really just can't stress how dangerous things are right now. January 20th can't get here fast enough. I mean, right now, as long as we don't escalate things further, President Trump is in a great position to negotiate a ceasefire. Trump is great at cutting deals. And I think right now, you could get both the Ukrainians and the Russians to a place where they could say to their people, hey, we did it. We accomplished the mission. Ukraine can say they defended their territory. Russia can say they pushed NATO off. And that would bring about at least a ceasefire. It would take down the nuclear tensions, and we can work out all the other details from there, unless we end up with some form of a nuclear exchange, unless we end up with increased tensions because we've put nuclear weapons or boots on the ground, like you have NATO partners discussing right now inside of Ukraine. That could get us into a war that President Trump could not walk back quickly. And that's exactly what the Biden administration is doing right now. And it's absolutely disgraceful and incredibly dangerous.